We just don't trust it. Maybe because we've been conditioned not to trust ourselves, and we've been conditioned not to trust the whispers of our soul, right? The world at large, and I mean everyone, values masculine traits like assertiveness, right? The tendency towards action, just keep going like a little mouse on the hamster wheel, like keep going, right? But what's not being valued is reflection, is intuition, is listening to our guts. And when we don't do this, when we don't listen to our guts, when we go into the lion's den, which many of us go into the lion's den, right? We get this intuitive hit that something is not right, and yet we squash it down. We don't listen to it, we don't trust it, we don't believe in our inner knowing. And I think it's just because of all the collective trauma that we've experienced. And so this is something that I want to talk about today, and I want to give you some tips on how to actually strengthen your intuition. So when you find yourself in a situation where you're not quite sure whether to go down this path or that path, you have your inner knowing to rely on and you can trust it. Now, intuition is something that has to be cultivated because in this culture that we live in, we are, as women, right, put in the corner, do as I tell you to do. Our workplace is masculinized, right? It's to the point where we simply just don't even believe that we have intuition. And trust me, I've treated over 15,000 women, and I can say that with with absolute certainty, right? So many of women have come to me and they've said, you know what, and in particular, you know, I shouldn't have done that hysterectomy. I knew that the doctor was leading me down the wrong road, but nevertheless, I didn't listen to me. I listened to the doctor. I trusted the doctor more than I trusted my gut. And now, this one patient in particular is self catheterizing. So these are real situations. Or someone else, like another patient of mine who went to the doctor made it sound like the bladder surgery that she was going to get was like some, wham bam trip to the candy store. Everything was going to be fine. And then she ended up with a lot of pain for many, many years. So um, sometimes it gets so bad that we accept surgeries, pills, unfulfilled lives, lousy jobs, terrible partners, because we simply don't listen to what we know is right for us, and we squash it down and we swallow our light. And this is over and over again. I see this all the time, right? And the same thing happens in the doctor's office, like when I explain what happened with my two patients here. And there's countless stories like that. I don't want to get into that. But um, when there's something going on with us, when we are ill, when something is not right with our pelvic floor, our intuition will be hindered because the pelvic floor, which is the first chakra, holds that intuition. And when women are suffering from leaking, prolapse, pain, discomfort, lack of orgasmic power, weak orgasms, or just not feeling right down there, their intuition is hindered because our female intuition also comes as a result of having healthy lady parts. So I'm going to give you my best tips today, and so I have a solution on how to heal your lady parts. Type in the word masterclass. Everybody knows that my master classes are the biggest events of the year. It's happening next week. Don't miss out on it. In Instagram, it's in the bio here. Type in the word masterclass. So we're going to put up the link as well so you can go directly there. Um, and in this masterclass, we're going to talk about intuition. We're going to talk about listening to our bodies. We're going to talk about how to cultivate a strong pelvic floor. And today, I'm also going to give you my top 6 tips because I think that now more than ever, but there's so much noise everywhere I turn. There's noise. This idea, that idea, and at the end of the day, we have to listen to ourselves. At the end of the day, when we walk into a room and something doesn't feel right, we need to trust that, but we don't. We really don't. And it's because of everything that's happening now and as a collective in the past. So, Hi, everyone. Just in case you don't know me, I see a lot of new names here. My name is Isa Herrera, and I help women have happy vaginas. And I believe that all women should rule their queendom and they should have complete control of their pelvic power and their intuition, right? So tap in the word masterclass and you're going to get an invite to my masterclass. And then, um, share this to your timeline because I have no idea where it's going to go. So if you want, share this to your timeline so you have it for later on as well. And you can have the tips also. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is we got to listen. I think that that's one of the biggest things that I find among when we get into a situation that is fire for us. It's because we didn't listen to the messages of our bodies. We didn't listen to what we knew inside to be right for us because we handed our power to someone else. We handed our power to the doctor. We handed our power to the guru. We handed our power to the friend who wasn't, there for us and who didn't have the best interests at heart. So I think if you have daughters, share this with them because right now there's so much craziness happening with our girls, especially when they go to college, that we need to let them know that yes, listen to your intuition when something doesn't feel right. It is not right, and you shouldn't squash it down. Okay, so that's the first thing. Don't push it away. Sometimes we go, nah, that's silly thought. No, that's not really good. Nah, nah, I'm fine. I'm not in danger, but we push it away, but we got that thing, but we push it away. So the most important thing is not to push it away, right? Now, tip number two, if you want to strengthen your gut, right, we have to start to get quiet. There is a lot of noise out there, and sometimes we do what? We go into the noise. When we go into the noise, our brains get cluttered. We get confused. How to say confused messaging from different social media outlets, from the media, from big pharma, from the doctors. And so when we go out there and it's really noisy, we have to come back home to ourselves and get really quiet. Now, how do you get quiet? I know a lot of people have a battle with meditation. I do this thing called micro meditations, which is what I really love to do. I'll do like 1 to 3 minutes a day while I just go into my breath, go in there and get quiet, right? And in those moments when I get quiet, in those moments when I need guidance, I will ask for guidance from my higher self, from my higher consciousness, from source, from God, from whomever you want to pray to, right? But this is how we get messages, right? When we are in prayer, when we are in meditation, and when we start to trust what we're receiving, then we can take appropriate action, whether it be to take that medication, not to take the medication, whether it be to take some sort of a pill or not take the pill. Whatever it is, I think that this inner knowing is really one of the things that's going to help us to move faster, to get better results. If we do a technique on ourselves and it doesn't feel right and it hurts, then why do we continue to go into that line of fire when we know that that line of fire is doing no good for us, right? So we got to get quiet. That's the second tip, right? And I like to do something that I like to awaken my five senses. So because when your five senses are really sharp, your intuition is sharp as well. So how do you increase your five senses? How do you like awaken your senses? I like to do it with food. Sometimes we go and we eat and we're just like gobbling down food, we're watching TV. When you sit, I want you to sit down. I want you to look at the food. I want you to look at the colors. I want you to taste the food. I want you to feel the food. I want you to smell the food. And this is how we slowly and surely start to awaken our senses because our intuition is connected to our senses, it's connected to our pelvic floor. But if we're leaking, we got pain, we have prolapse, and then we have all this noise, you're not going to get direct messaging. You're not going to get direct knowing, and you're not going to trust yourself, and it's going to become a problem. And you're going to wonder, like, why did I put myself in that situation? Why am I in a situation where I'm hurting? And many times we're in a situation we're hurting because we're either afraid to take action on what we know is true for us. And so we live in situations where we put ourselves in danger. And we put ourselves in danger. And when I mean danger with the medical establishment. with friends, with whatever, because we're not listening to the intuition. We're not cultivating intuition. We're not sharpening our skills, right? If you spend all your time in nature, you're going to have very sharp skills. And that's another tip that I want to give you. Spend time in nature. Yes, I know that it's really difficult right now to get outside. I know that it's hard, but we have to make an effort. We have to make an effort to go to nature, connect with nature, and be in that beauty of nature, the fifth element of nature, right? Because nature has this grounding effect on us, right? And this is something I talk about in my Pelvic Wellness Collective, which I believe every woman should be in my membership, because that is the place where healing is happening. That is the place where we're going to go and rise higher. And so when we go out to nature, we start to connect to the elements. We start to get quiet. We start to increase the positive particles in our bodies, right? And we start to understand that when we're quiet, we get even more inner knowing to our intuition, right? So when you get that intuition, what are you going to do? You have to trust what comes up for you. You have to trust. So many of us don't trust what comes up for us, right? So trusting your intuition is making sure that you trust yourself. So many of us don't even trust ourselves to do one little simple exercise without somebody being there for us. And this is what I talk about when I say stop outsourcing your vaginal health care. Stop outsourcing your bladder care and bring that information back to you. Because when you are suffering, when you have leaking, when you have all these other things, the problem is that it's there, right? What's happening to me? Why is it happening to me? It's happening to you because it's messaging you about your body. There is something going on in your life that you're not paying attention to, right? Illness is there to message us. It's not there to torture us. It is there to say you're not in alignment. You're not connected to your nature. You need to make a change. You need to shed light on that illness so that you can come up like the beautiful lotus flower. No mud, no lotus. No mud, no lotus. But so many of us want the beauty. But we don't want the dirt, we don't want the mud, we don't want the everything else that comes with getting us into a situation where we will grow. So for me, all illness has its purpose. It may be painful, it is uncomfortable, it hurts. Yes, I get that. I've been there with my own issues and with my Lyme disease and with my pelvic floor dysfunction. But when we start to shed light on why is this happening? What is the deeper message of my leaking? What is the deeper message of my prolapse? And then take appropriate action to heal yourself. That's also part of being an intuitive. When you touch yourself, when you do an exercise, and like I tell the women in my program, by the way, my program is opening for enrollment. So if you're not in my program, make sure you get into it. It's opening up next week. I'll let everybody know. But first, attend the masterclass to make sure that you and I in alignment. Okay, I only want people in alignment with me in my programs. Just make sure that you sit with that intuition, that you look for those answers when you're hurting. A lot of us are hurting right now, resorting to alcohol, drugs, caffeine, you know, sugary foods, processed foods. It's going to dull your intuition, and it's going to make you feel sick, and it's going to make you feel sicker. So make sure that we're cutting those things out right away as well. That affects your intuition, right? Get creative, right? You're stuck at home. We're all stuck at home, you know, and let's get creative. You know what I love to do? I love those mindfulness books that you color in. I love coloring, but if you like to knit, knit, right? If you like to freestyle draw. If you like to paint, paint. If you like to journal, morning, I forgot what they call that when you wake up in the morning and you just journal whatever comes to your brain. Do that as well, because what's happening when we do this, we are getting more and more intuitive. We're getting more and more um, connected, right? So that's important. Now, and I already spoke about go to nature, Go into nature. Nature is the most important thing. And I have a question here. Do you have any suggestions for exercises for diastasis recti and lower back pain? This is from Lee. First of all, on YouTube, this is sitting is the new smoking. If you have a back pain, if you have the diastasis recti separation, and you're sitting in very poor posture, and you're sitting for a very long time, you're hurting yourself. So that is my biggest tip that I can give you for that. Okay. Please attend the masterclass so that I can answer these questions in more detail as well. But sitting is the new smoking for the pelvic floor. And honestly, it's we need to end the sitting if we have back pain, especially if you're sitting in really poor posture. So thank you for that question, and thank you for the trust. So type in the word masterclass to get a an invite. The masterclass is free. We get thousands and thousands of women showing up every year. In YouTube, I think we put it in the link. We'll put in the link in YouTube as well. I'm in YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook right now because this is what it takes. When you're on a mission to heal 1 million women from pelvic floor dysfunction, you have to go and you have to bring the word out there. So if anyone is here listening right now and you know someone, a woman who's suffering, right? Who needs help? Share them the link to the masterclass. I want all women to attend this masterclass. This is how we start. This is the beginning of reconnecting to our inner goddessness, to our inner queens. This is how we come forward, right? Because we don't do that. If we don't, if we continue to not listen and to heal the most vital parts of our bodies, we're just going to lose it all. Because when a woman doesn't feel right down there, she basically doesn't feel right in any aspect of her life. And so I'm a big, huge believer in radical self care. I'm a believer in being selfish. I'm a believer in you knowing what to do with your body to heal, especially your pelvic floor. Because so many of us don't even know our own anatomy, and it's a shame because the pelvic floor is so deeply connected to our intuition, to our inner fire as women, and we forget that. And we wonder why we're clouded. We wonder why we make bad decisions. We wonder why we don't even know, our own anatomy. And it's because that's what's been happening, right? There's this movement towards keeping women small, keeping women squashed down. Because if you're hurting, if you're not powerful in your pelvic floor, you're not going to be out there. You're going to be most likely be feeling a lot of shame, not going out there, maybe not even connecting to your partner at home, which is a shame. I see this all the time. And maybe not even connecting to doing activities outside your home or even going into nature. So I see this all the time. Type in the word masterclass because that's how you're going to get the link. And these are my tips. The first one is listen when your intuition talks to you. I'm going to recap everything. Um, Strengthen your gut through meditation, through mindfulness. I like doing the food thing because then I don't we just have dinner as a family and we eat and we chew and we get into this whole conversation. It's really beautiful. So many of us have lost that art form of sitting down with our families. Just sitting down even with a friend, right? To connect and to have this beautiful dinner. And if you're alone, then connect with yourself because you're the numero uno and you're the one that matters the most. Um, and then I also like the creative aspect when you can just start doing some creative things that really bring you pleasure and joy. I mean, don't pick something that you hate because that makes no sense. Okay, I like coloring and coloring books. I know that sounds like old fashioned, but that's how I grew up. My parents were very poor, and in Christmas we'll get a coloring book. And that's what you got, and you got happy. And ever since then, I had this fascination with coloring books, and I love those mindfulness coloring books. I love the coloring books with the mandalas. I love crayons, so I recommend that. It's like you connecting to your inner child, right? To this happy place, because that's what we need right now. I mean, who is not? Anyone here tired of being miserable and fearful and scared? Well, now is the time. And my masterclass is the vehicle which is going to open this portal, which is going to allow you to go back into your inner child, to your intuitive queen, so you know how to take care of yourself the right way. Um, and then, of course, I'm a big believer in going into nature to connect. I think so many of us can spend a whole week in our home. And trust me, I've done this since this whole madness happened. Spent so much time at the house doing nothing, not leaving my house, and I'm like, whoa, I better walk the walk. So I make sure that I get into nature all the time. I make sure that I go for a walk. I make sure that I connect. I make sure that I meditate. I make sure that I do these things so that I can drown out all the nonsense that's going on out there and all the bull crap that's keeping us little. Because right now you have a choice. You can either be big, know what to do, how to care for yourself, or you can go into the noise and lose your inner self. And I see this so much. And I have over 150,000 women in my community. And I have a private membership that I believe all women should be part of. It's the Pelvic Wellness Collective. This is when true healing happens. And, you know, there's so much that we can do to help ourselves, but we got to prioritize our own self care. And we have to know that the body, when it's hurting, is there to message you. It's not there to punish you. It's not there to betray you. It's not there to make you feel less than, ashamed, or little. It is there to open the portal to your inner beauty and for you to take action. But we're afraid. But with my masterclass, I'm going to help you. Okay. And then, of course, I'm going to open up enrollment for my female pelvic freedom program. And those who want to go deeper, then I recommend that you go deeper and you work with me. Okay. This is a program where I hold everyone's hand through the entire thing. So thank you, everyone, for being here today. My name is Isa Herrera, and next week I will be doing my master classes for the next 3 weeks. So I will not be doing any Facebook Lives, but if I do, I will send you a notice for that. Know that you are a queen, that you and only you hold the key to your well being and to your health. Trust that. Trust yourself. Trust your gut, right? Know that you hold the key to a beautiful life and that you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve a beautiful life. You really do. Thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate we have tons of women here. Thank you everyone for being on Instagram as well. Have a wonderful weekend and I will see everyone in the masterclass. Make sure that you share this with all the women in your life because I need help getting the word out there and I'm relying on my community to get the word out there for me. So all my love to everyone. I love you guys.